Please.
The universal law of business says we need to find a group of people who have the problem that we solve that are ready right now to pay to access the solution. Here are the key words.
Ready right now.
Oh,
sweat.
Yes.
There it is. No, if I said ready right now. I said now.
Not next week.
Okay.
Not when my babies go to college. Right now.
Time as this.
Yes.
Okay. You need me now.
Yes.
I'm listening.
You need me now. Because if you're ready right now, then we can actually interrupt the pattern that's creating the problem and get you the solution.
Disrupt.
That's right.
This is the moment you've been waiting for. Everything that you've been praying for. You felt alone. You're gonna heal. Come back strong. I know what you got. God got you. Your girls, we're here. We're with you. This is your battle. I know you're about to come back better. God don't miss. You're ahead. This is it. Come back, sis. I know the whole world told you. Come back, sis. You weren't enough, but you are. Come back, sis. This is your battle. I know you're gonna come back better. God don't miss. You're ahead. This is it.
Hello.
Hello, beautiful.
It's wonderful to meet you.
It's so wonderful to meet you.
Thank you so much. Oh, let's have some fun.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
It means so much.
And welcome to Zeta Phi Beta.
Thank you.
I'm a Zeta.
Z Phi.
Yes.
So excited. It's been so exciting.
I bet it has been.
Yes, everyone's been so kind. They've been meeting me at shows, like coming backstage and showing so much love.
Yeah.
And so I remember when I first got started, you don't know what to expect. And the big thing that I wanted was to do charity. I was like, can we hang and just do great things in the community?
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful feeling.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yes. Soror.
Yes.
Yes. So I'm so excited to talk to you about so many different things.
Okay.
But my favorite subject has been spiritual strategy for marketing your business.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I know that's your jam.
Yeah.
And I know so many women need it. A lot of the women watching today are in a transitional space from figuring out how to bring their new life from the secular space or from what feels like the secular space over to they've just found their faith. They're just figuring out how to live life that way. How do I do my business that way?
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you talk to me a little bit about that? Does that make, yeah? Okay.
Absolutely. So I'm going to start by saying I've always been a God girl. But like most people, I believe that you needed to separate your faith from your work, right? And so here I am, I'm in this business space, never feeling comfortable, never feeling like I'm completely being myself, knowing something is wrong. I call it my key sweat moment, right? Something just wasn't right.
Okay.
And then eventually it came to a head for me because I decided if I'm going to do this work and I'm going to do it well, I have to be all of me. And I remember I was doing a live event. Live events are my jam.
Yeah.
And it was the third day of the event. I woke up in the morning and I just felt this massive unction in my spirit. I went down to the room before my makeup artist came, and just prayed in my spiritual language over every seat. And while I was there, the doors flung open and this woman I'd never seen before in my life walks in. And she says, I have a word for you from the Lord. Now, I knew something was coming because I could feel it in my spirit. And I just knew that that day at my event, I needed to flip the script. And I needed to go from them feeling God's presence to seeing God. And so when she walked in and she said, God says, if you take a bold stand for me, I'll make it easy for you. That's exactly what I did.
Can you say it again? God said,
if you take a bold stand for me, I will make it easy for you. And all of the anxiety, all of the frustration, all of everything it just fell out of my body. And I just immediately felt like, okay, now Darnyelle can really show up.
Wow.
It was the most cataclysmic moment I have ever experienced in my life. And it set me on a trajectory to get to the $1 million mark because the very next year.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Whoa. First of all, God is epic.
Oh.
Can we hold up?
For 2 seconds.
Do you have chills?
I have chills.
Goosebumps.
I have chills.
He's epic.
He is amazing.
You messed me up. Why does this keep happening? I told y'all.
I was wondering why there were no tissues here.
I'm about to say my issue with you today is that you walked in here and told us, that if you do what I said, I'll make it easy.
Honey.
If you do what I said, I'll make it easy. Then you heard next, I'm going to go ahead and get to these millions.
Yeah, because here's the thing. First of all, God desires wealth for us. He talks about money more than heaven and hell in the Bible 2,300 times, because money is a lesser thing that we have to learn how to master and normalize so that we can really get to experience it. And what we have to understand is that God is principled. And when we follow his principles, we unlock all the blessings he stored up for us.
Yeah.
And we just have to be obedient to understanding that a yes from God, a nod from God is better than a yes from anybody else, right? I love Romans 8:31. If God be for me, who can be against me? Who can be? There's not anything I cannot do if the creator of the abundant universe in which we live, breathe, and move every single day got my back.
I didn't know we was going to shout in here today.
Listen.
I didn't say, man, we good? Everybody keep coming in here talking about somebody. Romans 8.
Listen.
Everybody. You said God is principle.
He is principle.
I cannot, the preacher say, can I piggyback off that?
Yeah,
Real
absolutely.
fast, because my question to you is, people hear the word blessed all the time. And I think the word in the earth is principle. In other words, when we first get started up there in heaven somewhere and God speaks over our lives and says who we're going to be, that's the blessing. The words that came out of God's life about our life.
Exactly.
Out of God's voice, word that came out of his mouth about our life. Then we get down here and he says, but you're going to the planet. So I'm going to give you some principles. And if you can follow these principles, then my blessing can happen in your life.
Absolutely.
Would you say?
Every time we're given an edict, we are told exactly what we need to do. Example, Mark 11:20-26. Jesus and the disciples are walking from one town to the other. Jesus sees the fig tree. He wants a fig Newton, but the tree is not producing. So Jesus does what? He curses the tree to die, and they keep walking. The next day they're walking back. The disciples cannot believe that the fig tree has curled up and died. Jesus then takes that as a teachable moment to help them to understand that you can tell any mountain to move. The mountain of debt, the mountain of sickness, the mountain of growth in your business, the mountain of your marriage or your relationship. Any mountain can move if you do 4 things. He says, verily, verily, I say unto you, if you speak to the mountain, if you believe, if you don't doubt, and you forgive, you can get any mountain to move.
Forgive what? Can you help us there?
Forgive your brothers. Most of the time we need to forgive ourselves if we're being practical. But what we have to understand is that our vessel, when we were born as vessels of abundance and light with no fault in us. Pure flow could go through who we are.
To help me out, when we were born pure?
Pure vessels of light. Absolutely.
Vessels of light.
So if we look at Jeremiah 1:5, which says, before you were formed in your mother's womb, God knew you and approved you. So you came here approved.
Approved.
We came here approved.
Okay.
That approval, if we can go to a gazillion scriptures that talk about the abundance and the birthright and what we're supposed to experience just because God said who we are.
What we're talking about in simple or worldly terms, is that word worthy, would you say?
Absolutely.
Because that word gets on my nerves.
It gets on my nerves too.
Okay. Because people just decide that they're worthy.
Or people decide that they're not worthy.
Or they decide they're not worthy.
And they forget that we're created in God's image and likeness.
I started off worthy, sis.
I started out worthy.
What are we even talking about here?
Yes.
I was approved already.
That's
I'm
right.
not worthy because I made $300 yesterday.
No.
I'm worthy because I am here.
And here's the thing. You were worthy before your mom and your dad had sex.
Come on here.
Because before you were formed in your mother's womb, God knew and approved you. He called you prophet and gave you a message to share with the nation. So not only were we worthy and approved, but we all came here with something to tell that would shift the lives of other people. And so when we sit in the seat and we understand that, it begins to change things. Right now, the first thing you said is, I want to talk about marketing and spiritualizing and understanding how to leverage who you are in your marketing, well, that's the first principle. Because if I understand who I am and I see myself the way that God has always seen me, the amount of confidence and poise with which I'm going to direct whatever it is that I've been given to do, whatever problem it is that I can solve for people, those people becoming my clients, when I sit from that seat, marketing becomes easy. It's like if you had the cure for big C cancer, would you sit on it and keep it to yourself? No.
Yeah.
You would tell everyone, you would shout it from the rooftops. And here we are, when we look up just the word cancer in the dictionary, it means disease. And disease just means something is wrong.
That's all.
And that means that every single one of us that solves a problem is solving something that's wrong. So we could say that every single one of us solves a form of cancer. So why are we keeping it to ourselves, especially if we know who sent us?
Yeah.
And we know who we are. But that's what happens often.
These would be called pain points.
These could be called pain points.
These would be called, I see something and I can fix it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Would this be called, oh my goodness, look over there, this needs this?
Absolutely.
Is it a sudden awareness that you come to when you start to look around and say, I can add something over there? Like, what's that moment of awareness that happens that turns on the, God gave me this and I have to use it?
You know, I think that's probably different for everyone. So let me talk about how it became real for me.
Yeah.
So as a child, I knew from the very beginning of the actualization of my presence that there was something different about me. Let's talk about my name for just a second. It means the secret place where dreamers go to dream. I have 7 brothers and sisters. They all have normal Black people names. I don't know where my name came from, but I also understand that there was a very distinctive purpose for my life.
You knew that right away.
I knew that right away.
Got it.
From the way that I was treated by my brothers and sisters, by the way that my aunts and uncles looked at me, I knew there was something different about me. Now, when you're not in the right environment, those differences become cause for ostracization, and you feel left out and you feel lonely. And on top of that, I'm a middle child. Middle children are invisible. Because we just are left to figure it all out on our own. But I knew there was something different, and I had an amazing teacher who helped me to hone my difference and realize that there was nothing wrong with being different, because I felt like I wanted to blend in and be like everyone else. But the fact of the matter is, we're not supposed to blend in. I'm a disruptor and a catalyst for change. And I can't be that if I'm trying to be like everyone else.
Yeah. These are terms that we hear often. I'm a disruptor. I'm a catalyst for change. I feel ostracized. These are things that we hear often from people. And I wonder when I'm watching, does everyone feel different? Does everyone feel ostracized? Does everyone feel like I'm a disruptor? Or is that some people?
That's a really good question. My gut says possibly. Because I can make the case for any single person's experience for why they would feel different, because they should. None of us have the same fingerprints, right? Even if sitting right next to me on this couch right now where someone else named Darnyelle, we're different.
Yeah.
Our life experience is different. What we've been through, the gift we've been given to share with the world, it's different. So I don't actually think different is a bad thing. Sure. I think different is what creates the solutions that we need in order to experience our best life.
Did you write that sentence down before you said it?
No.
Difference is what we need to make the best solutions for other people's. The difference. Can we do a practical moment?
Okay, go ahead.
Write down the thing that makes you different now.
Yeah.
Write that down. If you're watching, write down the thing that sets you apart, the thing that makes you feel ostracized, canceled, unlike everybody. Write that down and lay that before God. Lay it before him. Say, God, what do you want to do with this? Woo!
That's good.
Because this is meant to fix something for somebody else.
Absolutely.
That was so good. You
Thank
said
you.
that. I just needed to stop.
No, but I love that because it's true.
Yeah.
And here's another thing. Let's take it one step further. Consumers, the people that we want to buy our products and services, they're programmed to notice what's different.
Okay.
So if I exist just like the person right next to me who technically does the same exact thing that I do, it doesn't present enough of a difference for me to decide which direction I'm going to go in. But if I show up fully in who I am, and I have the confidence of who I am, that confidence is going to be a source of transformation and transference for them. Because often, in order for a person to say yes to themselves through us, they're going to have to borrow our confidence.
Oh, wait a minute now.
They're going to have to.
So I got to take that different thing, lay it before the Lord. He says I approved it. And then I got to put it out there for people to see. And that putting out will give other people confidence.
Yes.
My bravery to put my different thing out is other people's confidence.
Yes. Their confidence to seek you as the solution they've been seeking. See, they've probably tried to solve their problem on their own, but they haven't been successful because they need you to do it. And you being confident and bold and brazen and what did you say? Brave enough to say, hey, look at me. I can solve your problem and I can solve it better, quicker, faster than anybody else can, is going to start the conversation for us to interact. Now, sometimes it may be as simple as I said it and you make the transaction takes place. Other times it might be a conversation that needs to happen, right? And inside of that conversation, we spend the time listening more than we communicate. And in so doing, asking the questions that helps the person who has the problem that we can solve come to the realization that we also have the solution. And it's because we sit in the seat of confidence. I know, just like I know my name, that when it comes to the work that I do, ain't nobody out there who does it better. And I hold that space because I recognize the person who has the problem has also come up against fear and doubt, and they've tried it and they failed. And so the thought of attempting it again makes them think that they're going to get the same exact result.
Wow.
But here comes me, who's already gone before them, has built a better mousetrap, who's actually got case study after case study of how this thing goes different and the small tweaks that they need to make in order to actually see the success. And if I show up in the poise of understanding their problem, articulating the solution and the path that we'll take to get there, they can relax their shoulders. They can allow their doubt to subside, and they can borrow my confidence to say yes to themselves through the solution that I bring to the table.
Solutions. Do solutions make you millions?
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Oh gosh, this is probably my favorite topic. Maybe outside of talking about Jesus. That's probably the only thing I like talking about more. After that, it's money all day. So here's what I know. The universal law of business says that every single person who desires to conduct business needs to find a group of people who has the problem that they solve that are ready right now to pay to access a solution.
Do we get to hear that twice, or we just got to press rewind?
No, I can say it again.
Please.
The universal law of business says we need to find a group of people who have the problem that we solve that are ready right now to pay to access a solution. Here are the key words.
Ready right now.
Oh,
sweat.
Yes.
There it is. No, if I said ready right now. I said now.
Not next week. Okay. Not when my babies go to college. Right now.
Such a time as this.
Yes.
Okay. You need me now.
Yes.
I'm listening.
You need me now. Because if you're ready right now, then we can actually interrupt the pattern that's creating the problem and get you the solution.
Disrupt.
That's right.
Bam. Yo, that was at least $1,200.
At least.
What's your Cash App?
What is my Cash App? $ Darnyelle J Harmon.
Boom. Send it. You kidding me? That was an answer for someone.
Yeah. For me, business is really simple. Business is also very boring, especially if you desire to make millions. Now, business is going to be chaotic at best at first because you're trying to figure out who you are, the problem you solve, and for whom, and the solution that you can articulate and get them to better than anyone else. That's going to take some time, right? So with our clients, who we help get to the $1 million mark, we tell them it's going to take 1 to 3 years. The amount of time it takes determines the amount of foundation they have when we meet. Right? So in the first part of it, we're setting the foundation. We're identifying exactly what I said, who they are, what is the problem they solve, what is the solution that they're offering, and how much do they want to charge for it right now? Because there are a lot of ways to make $1 million, and we could all grab our calculator and figure that out. My goal is that you make it with the least amount of effort and the least amount of people that you have to serve to do so. So that way you get to enjoy entrepreneurship.
So I don't want 89 clients. I want maybe 3 or 4 so I can enjoy the 3 or 4.
3 or 4 clients is 4 clients that are paying you $250,000 a year.
Got it.
So if that's what I decide I want, then my next question is, for the problem that I solve, who are the people or the companies, because they're probably more than likely going to be companies that I need to target, that I need to research, do some market research on, that I need to create a strategy to make them aware that I exist and I can solve their problem. And I do enough follow-up that I eventually get their attention to have a meeting so that I can understand their problems clearly, present them with my solution, and offer them the opportunity to allow me to solve that problem for them. And they, in turn, give me that $250,000.
What do you wear to that meeting?
I wear something that makes me feel good and amazing. So here's what I think. I think that there is a time and a place for everything. But I also think that we exist in a marketplace and a workforce today that we don't have to be bound by the traditionalism of old.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So many, because I was watching the meeting you were having. And I was watching how confidently you walked in. And I was watching you sit down at that table and defend what God gave you and then say it. There's this part of defending what God gave you that sometimes I think we get stuck in. And we feel like if we have the right presentation, we won't have to defend ourselves. And so we're Black women. We have whatever kind of hair we have, whatever kind of nose we have, whatever kind of lips we have. And we say, can I sit at this table and say what I have to say as this woman? So I'm being silly when I say, what do you wear to that meeting? But what I really mean is that confidence you're talking about at that meeting. Do you think that's the key that people are missing?
Often. And here's the other thing that I'll say. I believe the invitation is your validation.
Got it.
So if you've been invited to a meeting, they already believe that you're the solution they're seeking. So own it. It don't matter what you have. Don't go in there naked. Be presentable for wherever you are presenting yourself. But you don't have to put on airs. You don't have to pretend to be someone that you're not. You don't have to wear clothes that make you feel uncomfortable. Because if you're fidgeting the whole time, that is a nonverbal communication sign that you're not confident.
I call that the feminine seat.
I like that.
That restful place that a woman has. Is that Hebrews 11 where they talk about rest?
Rest is talked about a couple of different times. Hebrews 11 is faith.
Okay. There's a place in the Bible, and then I'll talk about it in the recap, that talks about rest and kind of being okay with, after you do so much, it's kind of okay to sit. But then there's this type of rest that is your constant posture. It's like you're constantly seated in, I know who God is. I know what my purposes. I know that I've already been approved, and therefore I can rest. Does that make sense? And so now when I walk into the room, I don't have to buzz. Right. I don't have to shake things. I don't have to wear pink, green, purple, orange, black, or white. I can just walk in.
Well, and your presence is going to shake things. Because when you sit in rest is an acronym that I use to say reflect, expand, surrender, and trust.
Reflect,
expand. So I reflect on who I am, the gifts that I bring to the table. I own that thing. And then I expand the capacity to show up in a way that helps them to see that I got it, I understand. And that because I understand, there's an opportunity for them to even relax a little. Then I surrender the outcome.
Surrender the outcome.
Here's the thing. When you detach from any and all outcomes, God can show up and blow your mind. You can get in Ephesians 3:20. He can do exceeding and abundant above you, all you could ever ask of, think, or imagine when you surrender. If you are held tight to anything, who can get their finger in here? No one. But when we surrender and we open our hands, everything can move through. And then trust that this moment at this time was designed for me because I got the invitation. Trust that I'm the solution that they are seeking. Trust that as I'm in this meeting, I'm going to conduct myself in such a way that blows their mind. Trust that God has gone before me to remove everything that should not be up in and through the space out of the way so that I can show up cool, calm, and collected and create a conversation that leads to them going to the next level and whatever it is that I'm there to help them to resolve.
What's your favorite part of the acronym REST?
Oh, surrender.
Yeah.
Surrender is the most important strategy, if you ask me, you need, especially as a business owner.
Yeah. And surrendering the outcome. There's a lot of religions that talk about like surrendering the outcome or non-attachment. But in Christian faith, surrendering the outcome. I don't hear that often. I would refer to maybe as some sovereignty in like the word, but like in Buddhism, you might say non-attachment. Talk to me about that part.
Yeah. So for me, the reason why surrender has become so important is because I have to know that whatever happens has no bearing on who I am. So let's talk about money again for a second, right? And let's say I'm the type of person who has a hard and fast goal. I'm going to hit the $1 million mark and I'm chasing millions. I don't believe we should chase millions, but there are a lot of people who are hustling and grinding and chasing it, right? And so if I hold on to that, there are so many things I can't control that can impact my ability to hit the milestone, that when I don't hit it, I start to question who I am and doubt whether or not I heard God correctly, it's my season, or any of those other things that we say. But when I do my best and I leave the results up to God, then God is given the opportunity to do exactly what he said in his word.
Yeah.
He's able to blow my mind and get me there faster, quicker than I could have ever done on my own. And I think that for me, surrender is recognizing that whomever, whatever is not your source, God is, right? So when I think about 1 Timothy chapter 6 is the chapter that verse 10, where everybody misquotes, for the love of money is the root of all evil, right? Well, in verse 6:17, when we go down, as Paul is talking to Timothy, Timothy's a new leader in the church and his people are wealthy people. And so Paul wants to make sure that Timothy understands what to tell the wealthy people so that they understand as they're continuing to build this wealth, what they need to do. He gives them 3 commands. He said, if you come across anyone who's wealthy, tell them, number 1, to not be arrogant and high-minded. Tell them, number 2, to do good deeds. We were talking about doing some volunteer work and just giving back to other people, right? Leaving the world better than we found it. And then number 3, don't forget the source. That money is not your source. God is. He allowed it to be. So if I never look at a client as the source of my wealth, I always look at God as the source of my wealth. When one client disappears, decides not to renew, says no to the offer, I don't have to get upset that I'm not going to be able to handle my living obligations because they weren't my source. God is. And if I'm surrendered, I'm free to allow God to show that money to come in another way so that every need that I have can be met and exceeded like he promised me in his word.
Got it. I remember a time where people in the world thought they could take my quote unquote like career from me. And I kept wondering why they thought that was possible, because I knew what my source was. And so people would wonder, like, why is she okay? You know, and it took a long time to be like, oh no, like this happened, but why is she okay? Why can she still smile when we took her career from her? Do you know? And when you know who your source and what your source is, you can't really get as shaken as, you almost want to get shaken so you can look like people want you to look. Oh, let me look really uncomfortable so you can feel validated in having taken something from me. But when you get into your kingdom mindset and you're like, you know, that's impossible, it can be kind of weird for people to think that they control you. Talk to me about your book, Move to Millions.
Yeah. So I did bring you a copy.
Thank you. This is so cool. It's gorgeous.
Thank you. By the way. Thank you very much. So Move to Millions is the book I was born to write.
Wow.
And it is a God-kissed download of the framework that entrepreneurs and small business owners who desire to make millions without compromising and sacrificing and hustling need to do in order to bring it into the realization. The book unfolds in 4 parts. The first part is mastery.
Okay.
That's all the strategy, because what people think, what entrepreneurs think is all they need is a new strategy. No, the strategies you already have work, and they will work when you move to the second part of the book, which is operational obedience.
Yikes.
So we get to talk about things like confidence and alignment and surrender and forgiveness. See, forgiveness.
I'm uncomfortable. This is the second part of the book?
This is the second part of the book.
That's making me uncomfortable.
But it'll change your life if you live into it.
Operational obedience.
See, it's not enough to say I'm a CEO. You got to operate in a way that allows for what God is telling you to do, because God is really the CEO. You're just the steward. And if you start to operate the way that he tells you to operate, everything will be handed to you.
Okay, wait, because can we find that part? Wait, do you have like 2 more minutes?
I have as much time as you need me to have.
Okay, sorry guys. Get this immediately. Move to Millions. What page is the 7 pillars of organization. Is that where it's at?
No, let me see.
Please, we got to get this. That's too good.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah. I love this book, and I'm so excited for people to get a copy of it. And when I wrote the book, I did something that most people who write books don't do.
Listening.
I put all the game in the book.
I'm hearing that.
And I did it on purpose.
Okay.
Because to work with me, it's an investment, and not everybody can.
Yeah.
And I can't service everybody anyway. I wanted to create an environment for people to have the full knowledge of what it's going to take. And for them to then decide if they're willing to do the work in order to bring it into their life in a way that honors who they are and doesn't require them to sacrifice everything. I don't believe you have to work hard. I think hard work only makes you tired. It doesn't make you millions.
Would you call that hustle?
I would absolutely call that hustle. And listen, I know because I used to hustle.
Uh-oh.
The first time I crossed the $1 million mark in 2014, I did it the hard way. And I hated every second of it.
There's a lot of people listening that heard you are a drug dealer. Clear that up quickly, please. What do you mean when you say you used to hustle?
Yes. Okay. So first of all, and I said this earlier, I was chasing the money.
Got it.
I thought that if I made $1 million, it would prove and validate that I was worthy. We were talking about worthiness, right? I struggled with it too. I can only recognize it because it used to be my downfall.
So that's what a hustler is, somebody who's chasing millions for validation.
Well, that, and they're working 24/7. They are putting work above everything else. I believe in living in the 8s. I first learned this from Brian Tracy. 8 hours to work, 8 hours to sleep, 8 hours to enjoy your life. Okay. I do not believe, I think America is the only country that has this ethic where we are taught by our parents, by our teachers, that success comes when you work hard. Success comes when you're in alignment. Not when you work hard. Hard work makes you tired. But we don't know that because that's what has been beat into us from the time we were yay high to a grasshopper. My dad used to say it at least twice a week. Girl, you got to work hard for money. I would ask him for $5, $10, $20 for the school field trip. Oh, you think I got a tree out back? You got to work hard for money. So what did I learn? That I had to work hard for money. So I worked hard for money. Busy work, sometimes grueling work, other times, but working constantly. That is not who we were designed to be. How in the world are we going to advance the kingdom if we're always working? So hustle is not having a clear understanding of who you are, the problem you solve, and the best route that requires the least amount of effort for you to get there to be the solution for other people as defined by me. And I want to stop people from overworking because it's not necessary. Again, it's what we were all taught. I think we got it honest. But once you learn better, you should do better. And once you know better, you become better. And so this is an opportunity to get the game and to shift the way you're working inside of your business. You do not have to work 12 and 14-hour days. I remember when I was in corporate America as a young person just getting in the company, you got to work 12 to 14-hour days. You don't have to work 12 to 14-hour days as an entrepreneur if you have the right strategy and the right prices. I can serve one of my programs. I have 10 people in it. It makes me $1 million every year.
Got it.
10 people. And a large portion of that work is done by my team, not by me. So I'm free to be available, to create, to listen, to sit. I'm not hustling. I'm not always working.
Right product, right
price.
Right
for the right person.
Okay. Person, purpose.
Yes.
Person.
Problem.
Product.
Price.
Prices.
Yeah.
All the P's.
All the P's.
Without a PPP.
Plus, we got to put promotion and positioning in there too.
Is that in?
It's all in here.
Oh, because I'm over here trying to memorize it. It's in the book.
It's in the book. Move to millions.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That excites me. I love instructions. I don't know if you can tell. I like to remember how did she say to do it? Okay, what? It's in the book.
It's in the book.
That's so awesome.
There's a companion guide that comes with the book that is free that you can download.
Fun. I love free things you can download. Is it purple?
It is purple.
Yes. I'm sorry. I like aesthetics.
No, yeah, me too. I think that having $1 million business is the floor, not the ceiling. In order to be the change, you got to have some change. I mean, I'm not volunteering. I'm not building schools and shelters. I'm not influencing anybody's life to be better if I don't have any extra money to offer to them.
Yeah. That's uncomfortable to hear.
It is, because we don't understand money. Again, that's why God talks about it so much in the word, not because he wants us to, chase after it. He wants us to normalize it. He wants us to recognize what it is. I love the parable of the talents. I think it is one of the best reflections of what God is really saying to us about money, right? So in the event that you don't know the story, I'm gonna break it down for you really fast. So there is a master who's going to travel. He's got 3 servants. This master knows his servants just like God knows us. He knows based on the servant how much to leave to which servant. He also even has an indication of what each servant is going to do with the money.
Capable.
So to one he gives 5, to one he gives 3, and to one he gives 1. The one that he gives 5 and 3, they both, recognizing in confidence of who they are seen to be and the way that their master sees them, they go and they multiply the money. The one he gives 1 in fear, because he does not see himself the way his master sees him, hides or buries the money. And when the master comes back, the master praises and celebrates the 2 that multiply the money, because money is supposed to move. Money should never stop moving. The one who buries the money is banished.
To hell.
Yes, because money was a lesser thing that we are to master. As the master is talking to the servants, he says, "Well done, thy good and faithful servant. Because you have become a master over this thing, I will make you a lord over many things." So when we master what money is, we will have more of it than we can give, spend, invest, or save. But mastery is what is required. Now, money is the only thing that every single day we have to make decisions about it. Every single day. And most of us make the wrong decisions because we are sitting in the seat of lack and not enough instead of the seat of plenty. But if we understood and recognize that money has to move, it's always moving, it never stops moving. And if it's not moving to us, there's something we are doing that has prevented it from moving, then we could shift everything. And so I call that the mindset for millions, which, yes, it's chapter 4 in the book.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're so welcome.
How can we hang out with you?
So you can find me online everywhere at Darnyelle Jervey Harmon. They'll have to spell it for you. They'll put it in the show notes. And then you can go to movetomillions.com. And that is the fastest way to find me wherever you need to find me.
Yeah. How do women get to work with you one-on-one? What's that like?
Yeah. So they can reach out to me, slide in my DMs, send an email to our company. There's a form on our website to fill out. We'll have you fill out an application so we can just make sure that it's a good fit for both of us. We'll have a conversation. And if we both agree that we're the right fit to solve the problems that you have, and I'm 100% confident I can get you the result that you desire, then I'll invite you to hire me.
Awesome. So exciting. Can I ask you one last question?
Sure.
What's something in your life that has happened that you felt like you couldn't come back from? There are so many women watching today that have been through something crazy and they were like, there's no way I'm coming back from this. Do you have a story like that?
Oh my gosh, I have lots of stories. How much time we got now? That could have been a whole episode all by itself. So I have 2 that I think would really serve. So I'll say high level and then you can tell me which one you want me to go deeper into. All right. So when I was engaged to be married the very first time, I was 23 going to be 24. And my ex-fiance confessed that he had gotten an older woman in our church pregnant 3 months before our wedding. And the bottom fell out of my life. But it was also the best thing that ever happened to me. In that moment, as it was happening, I didn't think I could ever come back from it. It sent all of the limiting beliefs that I held about my worth and my value and my ability to be loved flooding back. Because when I was 8 years old, during my birthday party, my mom's home was raided and she was taken to jail.
Oh my God.
So I had significant abandonment issues. And I thought I was damned to be by myself for my whole life based on that situation. At 24 years old. At 24.
Yeah.
When we're going through something, we sensationalize and hyperbolize it, right? So it was way bigger in that moment. But as they say, hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
And so for me, that was probably also one of my most substantial defining moments, because it was then that I really got to know God for myself. Up until that point, I was one of those people who would dust the put the dust off of their Bible and be like, Genesis, where's Genesis? Right? Like, I didn't know the word for myself. I was hinging on whatever the man or woman of God at the front of the church, what they had to say, and taking that to be the law, which is very dangerous. And I would never suggest that anyone do that.
Yeah.
But as a result of that situation, I didn't blame God for it. I actually came to learn and feel that it was salvation, that God was literally snatching me out of harm's way, that man was not the man. And if I married him, so many things in my life would have shifted and changed, and I might not have become the powerhouse that I was destined to become.
Wow.
And so salvation showed up and gave me an out and gave me an opportunity to connect with God, build a relationship with him. So I was able to shift from religion into relationship and to chart my journey to become the woman that I am today. But at the time, I didn't think I could come back to it. Now, the story goes on to say that I had 3 additional fiancés after that.
Wow.
I married number 4.
Wow.
Yeah. So I found out that I am lovable, and
3 times over.
3 times over.
Okay.
And yeah. So, and a lot of it is about knowing yourself. Like, I don't think that we ever arrive at a state of totality. We're always evolving, right? When you are when you are embodiment, the evolution continues, and you are a vessel that is free for that to continue to happen. And so, at every stage in our life, we have an opportunity to really evaluate, right? Like I said, rest. I had the opportunity to reflect, to expand, to surrender and trust. And sometimes in that process, he wasn't it. And
Do
so
you
I had
know
to
the
let
whole
him go.
entire Bible back to front? Because that's Hebrews 11. She said that one's about faith.
I don't know the whole thing front to back. I know what I know. I know a lot of stuff that's in the Bible. In fact, everything's in the Bible. Like, there's not a topic that we experience in life that is not brought up in the Bible.
Is Instagram in the Bible?
It isn't, but there probably is some Instagram equivalent. I study and I allow for God to show me what he wants me to know and what's going to be relevant for the work that I do and how I teach. Because for me, as I'm teaching entrepreneurship, as I'm teaching wealth building, as I'm teaching legacy, I want to relate it to the word in the principles. Based on the principles, right? I don't, for me, your religion is your religion. I want to teach you the principles that I believe make the difference and how that relates to entrepreneurship and business ownership. If we really look at business from that lens, it just takes a lot of the confusion, the frustration out of it, or at least it has the potential to. But you have to be willing to build relationship with God and get to know him for yourself. That's what the second part of the book, Operational Obedience, is really all about. Like, what are the tenets and the principles that you need to understand and activate inside of your life? Because when you do these things, it makes what you want to do in your business happen much simpler.
Give me this. Move to millions. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
I'm so grateful. God, I want to find that partner. I got to do it later. Oh,
yes.
Operational Obedience. I can't wait to read it. No, that's bomb.
You're going to love it.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me.
Did you guys have a good time? I did. Make sure you go pick up Move to Millions. Everywhere books are sold.
Everywhere books are sold.
Yeah. So go pick it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Come Back Sis. Peace.
This is the moment you've been waiting for.